I never knew you could feel unwanted by the people you nearly died trying to save. Eva whispered those words as she dragged her feet up the narrow staircase to her tiny rented room. Her whole body ached. Her eyes burned. She had just finished another 18-hour day, running from one job to another like she had been doing for years. Waitressing, cleaning rooms, working the night cashier shift, helping at weekend catering. Her life was nothing but work, work, and more work. Tonight, like every other night, she was too tired to even cry. She kicked off her shoes, opened her cracked phone screen, and saw dozens of messages from her coworkers. At first, she thought something bad had happened, but as she tapped the first link, her heart stopped. Her parents had won the lottery. $12 million. The article showed their smiling faces, standing in front of a giant check, waving happily. They were wearing expensive clothes she had never seen before. Her mother even had a new hairstyle. Her father looked healthier, younger, brighter. Nothing like the man she had carried through so many problems. For a moment, Eva froze. A small part of her heart lit up. They did it. They finally got a break. After all the years of pain, debt, and struggle, maybe things would finally get better. Maybe they would call and tell her, "Eva, we can breathe now. You don't need to work so hard anymore." Maybe they would thank her for the 7 years she spent paying off their debts. Maybe they would say they were proud. Full of hope, she dialed her mother's number. But the call didn't go through. She tried her father's number. Also dead. Confused, she tried again. And again. And again. Nothing. Her stomach twisted as she opened their WhatsApp profiles and felt the ground fall beneath her. Both numbers were changed. Both profiles gone. Like she never existed. Her phone buzzed. A voice note. From her mother. Eva pressed play with shaking fingers. Her mother's voice was cold, sharp, almost annoyed. "Eva, stop acting like we owe you anything. You're an adult. We're moving on with our lives. Don't call us." The message ended. No explicación. No love. Not even gratitude. Eva sat down slowly on the floor, her back against the wall. Her chest felt tight. Her hands trembled. All the air seemed to leave the room. She had given up her education for them. She had worked 4 jobs for them. She had paid their debts, fed them, protected them, saved their home, and kept their lives together. And now that they had money, real money, they didn't even want her near them. Her breath broke. She tried to swallow the pain, to pretend she was strong. But it was too heavy this time. Tears burst from her eyes as she leaned forward, pressing her forehead to her knees, shaking uncontrollably. The people she had nearly destroyed her life for had erased her in a single moment. Not even strangers could be this cruel. In the silence of her tiny room, filled with the sound of her muffled sobs, Eva realized something she had spent years refusing to believe. Some families are only loyal when they need you. And now that she was no longer useful, she was nothing to them at all. When Eva was 19, her entire world crashed in one afternoon. Her father's small business, the one he had spent years building, suddenly collapsed. One mistake, one bad deal, and everything fell apart. Creditors started calling nonstop. Letters came every day, red stamps, warnings, threats. They said the family would lose the house if they didn't pay back the money soon. Eva watched her parents fall apart. Her mother cried in the kitchen. Her father sat on the sofa staring at the floor, repeating the same words over and over. "I didn't mean for this to happen." Eva was just a college student then. She was studying at a small community college, dreaming of a normal life, a quiet job, a stable home, maybe a future where she didn't feel scared every time the phone rang. But when the creditors threatened to take everything, Eva did not think twice. She dropped out of college the next day. Her parents begged her, but also didn't stop her. Deep down, they wanted her to help. They needed someone to save them. And Eva was the only one willing to carry the weight. Her first job was at a local diner as a waitress. Long hours, low pay, constant rude customers. But the money went straight to the debt. Then she took a housekeeping job at a small hotel. Cleaning rooms, scrubbing bathrooms, folding sheets. She did it quietly without complaint. After that, she picked up the night shift cashier job at a 24/7 convenience store. It was dangerous and exhausting. Some nights she didn't sleep at all. She would finish at 5 a.m., go home, shower, eat something small, and rush to her next job. And on weekends she worked at catering events, weddings, parties, business functions, carrying trays, serving food, pretending to smile even when her back felt like it was breaking. For jobs. No breaks. No sleep. No life. But the money added up. Slowly, painfully, but it added up. Over the next 7 years, Eva paid off $184,000 of debt, almost all by herself. Whenever her parents contributed something small, they made sure she remembered it. And whenever Eva felt tired or overwhelmed, they reminded her, family first. You're our only hope. Don't be selfish, Eva. We raised you. You know we can't do this alone. The words stung, but she believed them. She believed she was responsible. She believed she was doing the right thing. Her friends told her she was being used. They told her her parents were taking advantage of her kindness, her loyalty, her guilt. But Eva never listened. She always said the same thing. They're my parents. I'm supposed to help them. As the years passed, Eva changed. She no longer talked about dreams. She no longer thought about going back to school. She didn't date. She didn't go out. She didn't celebrate birthdays or holidays. Every day was the same. Work, pay bills, sleep for a few hours, repeat. She lived in a tiny room she rented behind an old couple's house. The walls were thin. The ceiling leaked when it rained. Her bed was so small her feet almost hung off the edge. But she didn't complain. She didn't allow herself to want more. Her parents, meanwhile, began to feel lighter. Their home was saved. The calls from creditors stopped. Life slowly returned to normal for them. But not for Eva. She kept working because she didn't know how to stop. Her parents never told anyone that Eva had saved the family. Instead, they acted like everything had magically fixed itself. Sometimes, when guests visited, Eva overheard her father say things like, "We managed things well. We handled everything." Eva never corrected them. In her heart, she kept hoping that one day, her parents would appreciate what she did, that they would look at her and say, "We see you. We are grateful." But that day never came. And now, all these years later, Eva's life was smaller than ever. She barely slept. She barely ate. She barely spoke to anyone. Her friends had moved on, but Eva was stuck in the same loop, working herself to exhaustion, trying to be a good daughter. She still believed her parents loved her. She still believed everything she did mattered. She still believed she was important to them. But when they won the lottery, and changed their phone numbers, and erased her from their lives, Eva finally saw the truth. She wasn't important to them at all. Not then. Not now. Not ever. And the girl who once worked 4 jobs to save her family had become invisible to the very people she sacrificed everything for. Eva stood outside the huge iron gate of her parents' new mansion, staring at it like she was looking at a stranger's house. She had taken 2 buses and walked 20 minutes just to get here. Her hands were shaking, but her heart was full of hope. Maybe there had been a misunderstanding. Maybe they would see her and smile. Maybe they would hug her and say, "Eva, come in. We missed you." She pressed the doorbell. At first, nothing happened. Then, a camera light blinked above her. Her mother's voice came through the small speaker, cold and irritated. "What are you doing here?" Eva swallowed hard. "Mom, I just wanted to talk. I'm happy for you both. Her mother interrupted sharply. "Eva, you're grown. Take care of yourself. We have new priorities now." Eva froze. "New priorities? Mom, can I come inside for a minute?" "No. Go home," her mother said, not even pretending to soften her voice. "And stop making everything about you." The speaker clicked off. Eva stood there, staring at the gate, the tall walls, the shiny cars parked inside. Her parents had everything now, money, comfort, friends, and they had no space left for her. When the gate began to open, Eva thought maybe they had changed their mind. But instead, 2 guests walked out, laughing, holding wine glasses, heading to their cars. And that's when Eva heard it. Her father's voice. Loud. Confident. Almost proud. "Eva?" She never contributed much anyway. Always made things dramatic. "We managed our problems ourselves." The guests laughed politely. Eva felt like someone had punched her in the chest. Her breath caught. She turned away quickly before anyone saw the tears in her eyes. She began walking, fast, almost running, until the mansion disappeared behind her. That night, Eva couldn't focus at work. Her hands shook when she carried plates. Her manager scolded her twice. Her chest felt tight, like she couldn't breathe. Halfway through her shift, she broke down in the bathroom. She stared at her reflection, pale face, tired eyes, and whispered, "Why wasn't I enough?" When she returned to the floor, she told her supervisor she quit. She couldn't do it anymore. The stress was too much. The next night at her cashier job, things got worse. Ava hadn't slept. She felt dizzy. Her vision blurred. She tried to push through, telling herself she needed the money. But the room spun. Her legs weakened, and before she could grab the counter, she fainted. Someone called an ambulance. When she woke up, she was lying on a hospital bed. A doctor told her she was severely exhausted and dehydrated. They kept her for a few hours, gave her fluids, and sent her home with a bill she couldn't afford. Another debt, another burden, another reminder she had no one to help her. Ava sat in the hospital lobby afterward, her hands covering her face. She cried silently, trying not to make any sound. People walked past her, but no one stopped. She felt invisible again. Then, someone sat down beside her. She didn't look up at first, but she felt a presence, calm, warm, steady. Then a gentle voice said, "You work at the cafe, don't you?" Ava looked up, confused. The man sitting next to her was well-dressed, clean-cut, with kind eyes. She recognized him. He was the quiet customer who came in late at night during storms, always sitting in the corner, always polite. He smiled slightly. "You once gave me free coffee when the power went out." She remembered. He had looked cold and stressed that night, so she handed him a hot drink without charging him. "My name is Elias Carter," he continued softly. "I run Carter Tech." Ava felt her heart skip. She had heard that name. Everyone had. He was a billionaire. And he was sitting next to her, talking to her. But he wasn't acting like a billionaire. He was acting like a human being who cared. He looked at her for a long moment, not in judgment, not in pity, just concern. Then he asked the question that broke something open inside her. "Who broke you like this?" Ava didn't know how to answer. She couldn't speak. The tears she tried to hide came rushing out instead. And for the first time in years, someone noticed. Elias became a quiet, steady presence in Ava's life. Not loud, not pushy, just there. After the night at the hospital, he started checking in on her gently. He would send simple messages. "Did you eat today? Do you need a ride? Are you okay?" Sometimes he would come to the cafe late at night and walk her home so she didn't have to go alone. Other times, he would drop off a warm meal at her door with a note that said, "Rest." Ava didn't understand why he cared. And because she didn't understand, she didn't trust it. Every time he was kind, she waited for the moment he would ask for something. Money, favors, loyalty, something that would remind her of her parents' words. Nothing is free. But Elias never asked for anything. One afternoon, he said quietly, "You're smart, Ava. Come interview at my company. I'm not promising anything, but I think you deserve better than 4 jobs and no sleep." Ava felt panic rising in her chest. A good job? A chance at a normal life? It sounded too good. It sounded dangerous. It sounded like hope, and hope scared her more than pain. She told him she needed time. And Elias didn't argue. He simply nodded and said, "Whenever you're ready." Meanwhile, her parents' lives were not as perfect as they wanted the world to believe. A neighbor from their new rich area leaked a small post online. The post talked about how Ava, the daughter who worked 4 jobs, was ignored after her parents won millions. People online began to question the parents, criticize them, judge them. Instead of facing the truth, Ava's parents blamed her. They sent her angry texts. "Stop embarrassing us. You're doing this on purpose. You want to ruin our reputation because you're jealous." Ava stared at the messages with shaking hands. She had done nothing. She hadn't spoken to anyone. She hadn't told anyone how badly they treated her. But her parents didn't care about truth. They only cared about looking good. The more the posts spread, the worse their messages became. Her father wrote, "You owe us silence. Don't forget who raised you." Her mother wrote, "If you cared about us at all, you would defend us." Ava felt like the walls of her tiny room were closing in. She couldn't breathe. She didn't sleep. She jumped every time her phone buzzed. For the first time, She allowed herself to ask a painful question. Were her parents ever really good to her? Or did she just force herself to believe they were? Her heart broke all over again. Elias noticed something was wrong. He didn't push. He simply said, "You've carried pain alone for too long. Talk to someone. Let someone help you." Ava tried to shake her head, but he continued gently, "It's not weakness to heal, Ava. It's courage." And because she was tired of hurting, tired of pretending, she agreed to try therapy. Her first session was messy. She cried. She apologized for crying. She wiped her face and tried to be strong. But the therapist was patient. For the first time, Ava talked about things she had buried for years. She left the session shaken, but lighter. Elias didn't ask what she talked about. He simply said, "I'm proud of you." Ava didn't remember anyone ever saying that to her before. But peace didn't last long. One evening, there was a loud knock on her door. Ava froze. She opened it slowly. And her parents stood there. Not smiling. Not apologizing. Not even looking sorry. Her mother pushed past her and sat on the small sofa like she owned the place. Her father stood tall, arms crossed, ice cold. "We need you to make a public post," her mother said. "Tell everyone those stories online are fake." Ava blinked. "But I didn't write anything." "Exactly," her father snapped. "So fix it." Ava's heart sank. They didn't come to check on her. They didn't come because she fainted. They didn't come because they missed her. They came because they needed her to protect their image. Ava shook her head slowly. "I'm not lying for you." Her mother's face twisted. "After everything we did for you." Ava stepped back. "Everything I did for you. For 7 years. For jobs. No sleep. I paid your debt. And you cut me off the moment you got money." Her father stood up, eyes burning with anger. "If you won't help us," he shouted, "you are dead to us." The words hit her like a slap. Her parents stormed out, slamming the door behind them. Ava sank to the floor, her whole body shaking. But this time, the pain came with something new. Clarity. For the first time in her life, she saw her parents exactly as they were. A few days later, everything exploded. A short video began spreading online. Someone had secretly recorded Ava's father at a party. In the clip, he laughed loudly while telling people how Ava never sacrificed anything, and how she liked to act like a victim. He even joked about how she worked those silly little jobs, and how she wasn't smart enough for college anyway. People were shocked. Comments poured in. Nobody believed the parents anymore. The public turned against them overnight. Strangers wrote, "Your daughter worked 4 jobs for you. You abandoned her after winning millions? This is sick." Ava watched the video once, then closed her phone. Her hands shook. Her heart hurt. Hearing her father deny her sacrifices felt like being stabbed. Her parents reacted in the worst way. They blamed Ava. They sent her long, angry messages accusing her of leaking the video, even though she had nothing to do with it. Their voices were filled with rage and fear of losing their reputation. Then they did something unthinkable. They filed a lawsuit against her. Emotional distress, the papers said. They claimed Ava caused them pain, stress, and embarrassment. Ava felt like the world was crashing down. She could barely eat. She could barely think. She had no money for lawyers. She was terrified. On the day of the court hearing, she sat alone on the bench outside the courtroom. Her legs felt weak. Her chest felt too tight to breathe. She kept wondering, how could my own parents do this to me? How could they hate me this much? The courtroom doors opened, and Elias walked in. He wasn't wearing his usual calm smile. He looked serious, protective, and ready to fight. Without saying a word, he took the seat beside her. Ava whispered shakily, "You didn't have to come." He replied softly, "I wasn't going to let you face this alone." When the hearing began, Ava's parents' lawyer spoke loudly, painting Ava as an ungrateful daughter who wanted attention. Her parents nodded along, acting wounded, acting like victims. Ava sat there trembling, tears forming in her eyes. Then Elias stood up. "Your Honor," he said respectfully, "may I submit evidence?" The judge nodded. Elias placed a thick folder on the table. Inside were detailed documents. Every debt payment, every bill, every loan, every receipt Ava had paid for her parents over 7 long years. The judge flipped through the pages slowly. His expression changed from neutral to shocked to angry. Who gathered all of this? The judge asked. Elias answered calmly. I hired private investigators. Ava never asked me to. I did it because the truth matters. Her parents' faces turned pale. The judge slammed the file shut. This case is dismissed, he declared. Not only is your accusation baseless, but it's clear that you exploited your daughter for years. You should be ashamed. Ava covered her mouth as tears spilled out, but this time, they weren't from fear. They were from relief. Her parents stormed out, unable to look at her. The courtroom emptied until only Ava and Elias were left. She looked at him, voice trembling. You did all this for me? Why? Elias took a slow breath, his eyes soft but serious. Ava, he said, you think I'm helping you out of pity. But that's not true. She frowned, confused. That night during the storm, he continued, when you gave me free coffee, I wasn't just tired. I was having a panic attack. My chest felt tight. I could barely breathe. Your kindness, your smile. It grounded me. You saved me when you didn't even know it. Ava's eyes widened. I'm not here to rescue you, he said gently. I'm here because you rescued me first. Her heart trembled, not with fear, but with something warm, something she hadn't felt in years. Someone finally saw her. Someone finally cared. And someone finally stood by her when she needed it most. Ava accepts a position at Elias's company. A role based on her strengths, not pity. Elias offers her a job in the research department, the same field she once dreamed of joining. When he explains the role, he makes it clear that he isn't helping her out of charity. He picked her because of her talent, her discipline, and the way she stays calm under pressure. For the first time in a long time, Ava feels respected. She signs the contract with steady hands, feeling something she almost forgot existed: hope. With her new salary, Ava moves into a small but safe apartment across town. It isn't fancy, but it is hers. No one controls the keys. No one bangs on her door demanding money. She buys a soft rug, a simple bed, and a small dining table where she can drink her morning tea in peace. Every item she brings inside reminds her she is starting over. Her way. Her therapist continues to guide her, helping her build emotional boundaries she never had growing up. You don't owe anyone your peace, the therapist tells her gently. Ava nods, but learning this is hard. For years, she believed her only value was in fixing everything for her family. In therapy, she learns to pause before agreeing to something, to ask herself, do I really want this? Does this help me or hurt me? Slowly, she starts choosing herself. Meanwhile, her parents' life collapses. Most of their lottery money disappears, wasted on bad investments, unnecessary luxury purchases, and constant arguments with lawyers. Their friends vanish the moment the money dries up. Their house is filled with unpaid bills and stress. They keep looking for someone to blame. And they choose the same person they always do: Ava. One evening, they show up at her new apartment. They look nothing like the shining, proud people who once won millions. They look tired, a little broken, and angry at life. Ava, please, her mother begs, holding her hands together. Just help us one last time. We have nothing left. Her father adds, you owe us. After everything we did for you. Ava feels a familiar pain in her chest, the old urge to fix everything, to solve their chaos so they would love her again. But this time she doesn't step forward. She doesn't cry. She stands tall, her voice steady. I don't owe you my life, she says softly. But I don't hate you. I forgive you truly. But I'm not going back to the person I was. I'm not saving you again. Her parents stare at her, stunned. Not because she refused, but because she stayed calm, strong, unshaken. Her father raises his voice. Her mother cries louder. Ava simply repeats, I hope you find help, but it won't be from me. Then, for the first time in her life, she closes the door on them, gently, not in anger but in peace. Inside her apartment, the silence feels warm, healing. She sits at her small table, takes a deep breath and smiles. Not because everything is perfect, but because finally, she is choosing herself. Ava begins rebuilding her identity beyond being the family savior. She explores hobbies she never had time for. She attends workshops and grows closer to coworkers who respect her. She even allows herself to laugh more, sleep deeply, and dream again. Her life is no longer about carrying others. It's about becoming who she was always meant to be. A woman with boundaries. A woman with purpose. A woman free. Ava stands on her small balcony, sipping tea, feeling peaceful for the first time in years. The morning air is cool, and the city hums quietly below. Her phone buzzes, a message from Elias. Proud of you. Let's build something new. She smiles softly, not because of him, but because she finally believes she deserves good things. Safe, free, and strong, she takes a slow sip of tea, enjoying the calm she's earned. She whispers to herself, sometimes the family you lose is the price for discovering the life you were meant to live. Hey besties, thanks for watching all the way to the end. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more amazing stories. See you next time.